operators. Now, what do we mean by operators? Let me go on so we don't have to waste our time. Now, operators are the backbone of any programming language. Believe this one. Basically, what they allow us to do is to perform actions on variables and values, manipulate data, and then what? Make comparison. Now, understanding operators is crucial for writing effective and dynamic JavaScript code. Now, I'm going to talk about these 4 types or 3 types. We'll talk about arithmetic, we'll talk about assignment, we'll talk about comparison, and then we'll talk about logical, which we've done before. These are the 4 types I'll talk about. So, 4, then I'll also talk about conditional very soon. So, after we've talked about if statements, then we'll go into conditional operators. Arithmetic, now, let me just list everything now. Let me talk about all of these operators. Arithmetic, assignment, logical, which we've done before. Which one again? Comparison. Comparison. Then conditional. Now, this is the 5 types of operators I'm talking about. We talked about 1. We'll talk about 3 today. Then the last will be conditional when we get into what? Control flow with if statement. So we'll talk about arithmetic operators. Now, basically, we've been talking about a lot of operators since the beginning of this course, right? Some of the operators I'm talking about, first is what? We talked about plus, we talked about minus. Remember, we talked about multiplication. I remember that well. We talked about what? Division. Then we also talked about what? Now, this is basically what we talked about. Plus, minus, multiplication and division. What's talking about modulus? Yeah, I remember. Now, these are the 5 types I talked about. Now, this is arithmetic. The plus adds numbers together or values together. It's not only numbers. Remember, we also added strings. You understand? Concatenated strings together, if you remember. Now, that is basically what your plus does. Your minus subtract, multiplication, multiply numbers, then division, divide. Modulus talks about the remainder after a division. So if you divide 5 by 2, what will be the remainder? 5 by 2. 1. You understand? So if that means it's 2 goes in 5. 5 is it 2? Sorry, 2 goes in 5 twice. Then if you have 1 remainder. The same thing if you divide 3. If you divide 10 by 3, what do you have? What's the remainder? 1. You understand? Because that is what 9, then 1. That's the remainder. That's what modulus is. So this is the mass class. Let's just leave. That's what modulus is. Now that's your arithmetic. Now, arithmetic operators are used to what? Perform mathematical calculations. So you have what? Addition, you have subtraction, you have multiplication, division, modulus, exponentiation. That's like raise, that's powers. So if you have raised power 2, raised power 3, that's what the exponentiation. Then you have your increment and decrement. This is what you want. You will need to understand what this is. If you say increment plus 1, mean that what? If you say 2 plus plus, that's what? 2 plus 1, that's what? 3. If you say decrement, 2 minus minus, that's what? 2 minus 1, 3. Now, the reason why you use plus plus is because plus plus cannot be what? Infinite. It can keep going. You understand? That's why I say that when money enters your bank account, there's an increment. It's not as if the increment just stops. It keeps what? Going. And when you also get debited, what? Increases. That's what? Increment. So if you just use 2 minus 1, it only deducts 1. If you use 2 minus minus, it keeps deducting. 2 plus 1 only increase 1. 2 plus plus keeps what? Increasing. You understand? That's what decrement and increment. You will need to understand. We'll get to this and you'll able to understand what this is. Now, I'll give you probably like just a little bit of function for it to understand what this means later. Now, I think we've done this, so we don't waste our time. We've done this. But now let me just show you what the increment basically does, so you see what I'm saying. Now, as you can see, A equals to what? 5 console log a plus plus. What do you have? What will be the answer? 6. You understand? That's why a right now is now what? 6, because a plus plus is adding what? 1. Keeps adding 1. Now, if you now have a loop, you get to loop. Loop is that loop, you cannot use loop to what? Keep adding 1. Keep adding 1. Keep adding 1 to that particular. When you get to loop, you understand what I'm trying to say. So now you have precedence. Precedence is saying that what? Certain operators will come before each other. Now, it's just like BODMAS, right? When you have BODMAS, division comes before multiplication. Multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. You understand? That's what precedence is. So now, there are sometimes that you have arithmetic precedence that certain operators will come before. But one thing is that if you can use BODMAS in any arithmetic operator, you definitely get your answer correctly. You understand? But you can still go ahead and study operators. So you can go ahead and check this place. You have JavaScript operators, operator precedence, operator precedence. That's the MCDN. Yeah, this one. So you can check it out and see which one comes first and which one comes last. This one you can check it out on your own. It's not important. No, it's not necessary, but it's important to know. You understand? It's not compulsory, but it's very, very important that you know it. So you definitely have precedence. I'm trying to check. This is not it. Now, good, this is a table. So this is a table right here. So you have tables whereby you have, as you can see, minus, minus. So plus, plus x actually comes after what? This particular operator. I'm trying to check one for us to see. Now, as you can see, multiplication comes before what? Addition. You understand? This is precedence. So you are saying that what? Your multiplication and division and remainder will come before what? Your addition and subtraction. That's precedence. So you can check it out. Comes forward. The thing is that even in BODMAS, if you check something, if you divide, yeah, the off is even. You see, division and multiplication, even in BODMAS, right? They are inseparable in the sense that if you do division before multiplication, you still get the same answer, and if you do multiplication before division, you still get the same answer. So what am I saying? If you have, let's try something. If you have 2 times 3 divided by 4. 2 times 3 is what? 6 divided by 4. What was the answer? 1.1. Is it 1.2? Are you sure? This is how you get it. You have what? 6, right? 6 all over 4. Then 2 goes in what? Both of them. So 2 goes in both of them. 2 in 4, you get 1. You get 2 rather. Then that's 3 over 2. That's 1.5. The answer is 1.5. So what am I saying? You have, right now, you have what? 6 over 4. You understand? If you divide 6 by 2, that's 3. If you divide 4 by 2, that's what? 2. That's 3 over 2. And 3 over 2 is what? 1.5. I think you are correct. 1.5. So if you have 1.5 now, that's now 3 over 4 times what? 2. You will still get what? 1.5. Why? Because let me show you what I'm trying to say. So if you divide 3 by, I don't have calculator here. Let me just use the web. So if you have 3 over 4, what do you have? 0.5. So let's go 0.5 times 2. 0.75 times what? 2. What do you have? 1.5. You understand? So that's why multiplication and what? Division, they are inseparable. Like anyone can come before the other, even in the BODMAS. That's basically what it is saying. If you notice, they are both in the same word. Can you see 12? 12, meaning that they are both in the same word, in the same bracket. Anyone can come before the other. You can have remainder before what? Division, or division before what? Remainder, or vice versa, or even multiplication. But what it's saying is that what all of these operators here comes before what? Addition and subtraction. So we've actually done on this a lot. So let us go to the next one. Java, they are not similar. Now, one thing about programming is that programming has, just like I said, there's a universal similarity. So, like I said, exactly, there's a universal similarity in every programming language. They just have what? Different syntax. When I say different syntax, how it's written. No, now, for instance, everything means, so if you say something in Spanish, thank you in Spanish is gracias, have you? So if you say gracias in Spanish, that's thank you. It means something in English, right? But different what? Application or different pronunciation. Now, in French, it means whatever it means. You understand? In what does it mean in French? Is it merci? I think it's merci. Good. Merci beaucoup, yeah. Something like that. So it means, you understand, it means whatever it means in English, but they have different what applications, different syntax. Now everything, you can say anything the same way, just that they have a different language. That is exactly the same thing with Java and JavaScript. That's what you have with Java and JavaScript. So now the next one is assignment operators. Now, assignment operators are used to what? Assign values to variables. Now, we've done this before. Again, when you said let full name equals what? 10. What's the assignment variable there? Eh? Someone said 10, someone said equals to. Which one am I going to believe? Who's going to say full name or first number? First number, just choose first number. Eh? I'm going to explain it. I'm going to ask the question again. Assignment operators are used to what? Assign values to what? Variables. Now, if you look at let first number equals to 10, what is your assignment variable? Sorry, what's your assignment operator? Equals to. Equals to. Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
Equals to Abi. Mr. Wizard, I've not heard your voice. I don't know why I like hearing your voice. What's your answer? Equals to. Okay. Why not first number? Okay. All right. Variable name. All right. The answer is equals to. So equals to is your assignment operator. Why? Because you use equals to what? Assigning variables to values. Or assigning values to variables by assigning one. You understand? Now, you cannot have other assignment operators that are derived from what? The equals to. You have plus equals. So now, as you can see, adds the right operand to the left operand and what assigns the result to the left operand. I will get there. You now have what? Minus equals. You have multiplication equals. You have what? Division, and then you have what? Star star, which is what? Star star. It's just like trying to combine arithmetic and what? Assignment together. What am I saying? Plus is what? Arithmetic, isn't it? This one is what? Assignment. So you're trying to combine both assignment and what? Arithmetic together. So let us check it out. If you have what? Let x equals to what? 10. Then you now have what? X plus 5. What have you just done? You've added 5 to x. That's what this plus 5 is. You understand? Plus 5. So if I now say x minus equals to what? 5, what will you have? 10. Eh? 5. You understand? Good. If you now have what? That's star, that's the multiplication sign, equals to what? 5. What will you have? 25. 5 times. Okay, 10 times 5. So thank you. 50. Then the same thing, divided by what? 5. That's 2. Modulus 5, 0. Then 5 is power 5. So, sorry, 10 is power 5. What am I? What's 10 is power 5? That's 500. Okay, good. So that is basically what we're talking about here. So you don't need to like, all these things are just mathematics. So don't bother about it for now. Bother about mathematics in programming. It's not as if it is core, but it's just important to just have a knowledge of it. So, It's not like I said, it's not compulsory that you are a good mathematician. You know 2 plus 2, have you? Ah. Okay, you have to go and learn 2 plus 2 again. So if you know basic maths, then it's fine. And also, but just make sure that okay, don't go into maths. Yes, let us do it. Comparison operators. Now we are getting into much more complex examples of operators. Now, comparison operators is where we now have your equals equals and your equals equals equals, like I said before. And what do you use comparison operators to do? Comparison operators are used to what? Compare 2 values and return a what? Boolean value. Now, let me explain what I'm trying to say. If you remember this place, what did I say here? I said, if, right, I'm saying that what? Z is equals to what? Y. So I'm trying to compare if Z is actually equals to what? Y. If Z and Y have the same value, now it is not exactly that Z is never equals to Y. But Z and Y can have the what? The same value. So if they don't have the same value, it compares and it gives you a what? Truthy value. If it has a false value, what will it give? If it does not have the same value, what will it give to you? False value. Do you understand that? That's what. Now, in comparison, you have 2 major types. You have your what? You have your equals equals, and then you have your what? Equals equals equals. Equals equals and equals equals equals. I hope everybody is following. Are you following, Mr. Samuel? Be clear. All right. So we have what? Is he on now? Well, has he been upstairs? So all right, so now we have equals equals and equals equals equals. Now equals equals and equals equals. We want to try. We want to just give me like the differences between both of them. Now, before you give me the differences, I want to tell you that they do the same thing. Both of them will compare values, but they have what? Just a slight similarity. Sorry, slight differences. Or it's just different, just one. Who can tell me the difference between what? Equals equals and equals equals? Just try. That's the way you're talking. Mr. Damon, sorry, Mr. Wizard. Wizard, yes. You be able to know it. Use your wizard powers, I'll call it. Or warlock powers. I'll give us the answer. You can just tell me equals is longer. Equals is what? Shorter. Is that not a difference? That's a difference. But that's what I'm looking for. Well, Miss Joy. Not to try. I already check. Okay, nice one. Nice. Just check. Read that first. Check. Mm-hmm. What's the explain what she said? Yeah, try. Can it be the same and not be of the same value? She said something. I'm not trying to confuse you. I like your explanation. You're actually on the right path. So I just want to know. Okay, you have an answer. Okay. They can share the same value because they must. Again, it's still the same thing. If they are sharing the same value, okay, let's say me and you we are sharing the same value, the same name, and we have the same name. What's the difference? No. Now, what is saying is not about the same people.
No.
Okay, what you're saying is that now what I'm saying is this is how it is.
That means the values and the variable name.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Variable names don't matter. What matters is value. So if you have the same value, how then can you like even me I don't confused. Okay. To give you false. Okay, sorry. And that's why we are going to. In this case, what are you checking for? Are you checking for gender or names? What did you just say? What did you just say? Come again. What is type? What is type? You are correct. But I want you to explain that type for me. Now, equals. This is the what you just said there, right? It's not totally wrong, but it's not totally correct. You understand? What is correct there is the type and value, right? Now, this is how comparison works. It's saying that what you have two, it's comparing values of what? Of variables. The values of variables. So if I have first name, Paul's first name, or let's just say Paul's first name and Praise first name. Those are the variable names, isn't it? The value of Praise first name is what? Praise. Value of Paul's first name is what? Paul. You understand? If I compare Praise first name and Paul's first name together, if I use equals, what's it going to give me? Paul's. Why? Both of them are what? Now, let's now say you want to use equals. Why do we use equals and not equals? Because of what? Type and value. Now, when you say type and value, what do you mean? You're not talking about variable name. You don't, that gender and name, you don't need it. That's like the variable names. You don't need variable names. What we are interested in is the what? Is the value. Now, what am I saying? Let me explain what I'm trying to say for you. To you. If I say name, let this is I don't have any variable name. Let P equals to what? 10. And let new P equals to what? 10. Now, if I say console.log P equals what? New P. What will it give you? True. Why? It don't give you true because why? You have the same value, right? Good. Now I'm getting somewhere. I want you to just follow me. Now, if I use equals, what's going to give you? True, right? Now, this is what do you need? What am I saying? This is what equals and equals means. Equals checks for what? Equals checks for just the value. Equals checks for value and what? Type. We'll get there. Wait. Don't I've said it. Don't come back and say you want to say it now. Wait, I'll explain it. So now let me give another example. If I change this new P right now, let me remove this and I put this at 10. And this is equals, right? What's it giving you? True. Why? 10 and 10 are equals to what? You have 10 and 10, isn't it? But they are same value, isn't it? Well, are they the same? Are they of the same type? Why are they not of the same type? One is number, one is what? String. But if I use equals, what's it going to give you? False. Why? It is checking from both value and type. Your type is your data type. It wants to know if your data type and the values are equal. But if you just use this part, that's why I said one is loose. What did you say? One is loose and one is what? Strict. This one just checks for the value loosely, while this one is what? Strict about checking that particular data. Now, if you ask me, which one should you always use? Always use what? Equals, equals, equals. Why? Because you don't want your application to break. Sometimes you might make mistake. If you use equals, equals, you won't get any error. Why? Because you feel like, okay, you're not getting any error. So but if you use equals, 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 you get an error saying that what? The types are what? Not of the same thing. So you need to make sure that both of them are said that the same data type. Now, I'm going to explain it again. Equals, equals, checks for what? Just the value. The value here is what? 10. Value here is what? 10. But this is a number, and this is a what? String. But equals, 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 checks for what? Type and value. Meaning, if the types are not the same, and I did not say type or, type and, what is the operator again? Both of them has to be true. Type and what? Value. If type is true and value is what? The same thing, what happens? It's going to be what? True. Now, if I go ahead and I change this now to this thing, what's going to give you? True. Why? 10 and 10 are equals to each other. But if I remove 1, yeah, what will it give you? False. Because here you have 1, here you have what? 10. Similarly, I can also have what? 4. And I can have 4. What's it going to give you? Why is it giving you truth? It will give you false. This is the answer. One is capital letter, one is small. Those things are important, very important. You need to be very, very, very vigilant for it to see it. One is what? Capital letter, one is what? Small letter. And if I change down to capital letter, what do you have? You have what? True. But if I use small letter, sorry, if I use small letter and I just put equals, 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 what's going to give me? Hey, small letter. Still giving me false. Okay. Okay, this one is also checking for value. Right now, the values are not what? Equal. This is what? Value and not what? Type. Type is saying that, well, if I now use, of course, that's not possible. You cannot write 5 for here. 4 is not a number. So it's not going to work. But that using the number is the best way to explain what? Type differences. So, one word. This one, it's still going to give you the same answer because it's a string. It's a string. What do you mean by what's it? Like, I need to know. Do you know the type that I'm talking about? No, if you understand, you can let me know.
That is taking value of those numbers. If it's 3, the one is 3, one. If it's 2, taking the value of those set.
What is the type here? What's the data type? No. Sure. What's the data type here? What's the data type here? Why? Good. I'm not saying that equals checks for the what? The value. What's the value here? What's the value here? Equals now checks for what? Value and type. What's the type here? String. What's the type here? Number. Meaning if I use 3 equals to, you're going to give me false. Why? They are not the same type. But if I use 2, it's not giving what? True. That's the same value. You understand it now? That is what equals and equals. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to everybody now? All right. So let's move on to the next one, which is going to be, I think we are done. So we've talked about assignment, talked about arithmetic, talked about comparison. So in our next class, we'll talk about conditional, and then we'll talk about what? Logical. But for now, let's also talk about some practical examples that let's some practical quizzes again. Like I'm very, very sure that a lot of you Understand what we did. So